Christmas is for immediate family only. My father-in-law's text message read, arriving 3 days before Christmas, like a precision-guided missile designed to wound. You understand. The man who'd spent 15 years calling me the help's daughter had finally found a way to erase me from the family portrait. But Harrison Chambers had no idea that the private jet circling his Westchester mansion on Christmas morning belonged to the same gold digger he'd just uninvited from his precious holiday gathering. I stood in my penthouse office, Manhattan glittering below like a circuit board of ambition and broken dreams, reading Harrison's text for the 5th time. Each word was carefully chosen, each punctuation marked a tiny dagger. 15 years of marriage to his son James, 2 beautiful children who called him Grandpa, and still I was disposable. Still I was the Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx who'd somehow tricked his precious son into marriage. "Mommy, why are you crying?" My 8-year-old daughter Sophia appeared in the doorway, still in her pajamas, dragging her favorite stuffed reindeer. I hadn't realized I was crying. I quickly wiped my eyes and knelt down to her level. "Just some dust, baby. Are you excited for Christmas? Is Grandpa Harrison really not letting us come?" Her older brother Lucas, all of 10 years old and already too perceptive, stood behind her. "Dad's on the phone with him. He's using his lawyer voice." The lawyer voice. James only used that when he was trying to negotiate the non-negotiable. I could hear him down the hall, his words muffled but his tone clear, pleading, reasoning, slowly transforming into something sharper. "Your grandfather is having a smaller gathering this year," I said carefully, the lie tasting bitter. "But we're going to have our own adventure." "Without Dad?" Sophia's lower lip trembled. "We'll see," I said, though I already knew. James would go. He always went. Every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, every family gathering where I was subtly or not so subtly made to feel like an intruder. He'd apologize, promise it would be different next time, swear he'd stand up to them. But when push came to shove, James Chambers I always chose the path of least resistance. I heard his footsteps in the hallway, saw his shadow pause outside the door. For a moment, I hoped. Then he walked past without entering, and I knew. "Kids, go get dressed," I said, my voice steady now. "Pack your favorite clothes. We're taking a trip." "But Mom," Lucas started. "Trust me," I said, and something in my tone made them both nod and scurry off. I stood, walked to my desk, and picked up my phone. Speed dialed a number I rarely used. "Ms. Reyes." Captain Williams answered on the second ring. "Will you be needing the jet?" "Christmas morning," I said. 6 a.m. departure. Flight plan to Aspen. And Captain, make sure we do a low pass over Westchester on the way out. There's something I want my children to see." "The estate in Westchester, ma'am." "The Chambers estate. Circle it twice. Low enough for them to hear us." There was a pause. "Understood, ma'am. The G650 will be ready." I ended the call and opened my laptop, pulling up the property listing I'd been watching for months. The Aspen compound that made Harrison's Westchester estate look like a starter home. 22,000 square feet of privacy and perfection. I'd been waiting for the right moment to pull the trigger. I clicked purchase and smiled. James appeared in the doorway, his face a study in conflict. At 38, he still looked like the golden boy who defied his family to marry me. Sandy hair, blue eyes, the kind of jaw that belonged on currency. But 15 years of straddling 2 worlds had added lines around his eyes, gray at his temples. "Elena," he started, then stopped. We both knew what came next. "Save it," I said quietly. "I got the message. Lower class doesn't get a seat at the Chambers table." "That's not." He ran a hand through his hair. "You know my father. He's from a different generation. He doesn't mean." "He meant every word," I interrupted. "Just like he meant it when he offered me $100,000 to leave you before our wedding. Just like he meant it when he introduced me as the maid's daughter at your cousin's engagement party. Just like he meant it every single time he asked when you were going to trade up. James flinched at each example. I've talked to him. No, you've apologized for him. There's a difference. What do you want me to do? His voice cracked slightly. He's my father. And I'm your wife. Those are your children. But somehow we always come second to Harrison Chambers' comfort. He stepped into the room, reached for me. Elena, please. It's just one dinner. I'll go for a few hours, make an appearance. While your children spend Christmas wondering why Grandpa doesn't want them. I stepped back from his reach. While I explain again why Mommy can't come to the family photos. The kids are invited, he said weakly. It's just me. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. The contamination in the bloodline. Don't say that. I'm not saying it. Your father is. Every time he looks at our children and comments on how Sophia's skin is such a pretty tan, or asks if Lucas is going to play basketball with those jeans. James's face darkened. He'd heard the comments too, chosen to interpret them as harmless. Old man's ignorance, not malice. But we both knew better. I'll skip it, he said suddenly. We'll stay home. Have our own Christmas. For a moment, I wanted to believe him. But I'd heard this song before. Your phone will ring at 10 a.m., I said. Your mother, crying about how Christmas is ruined. Your sister will text about family traditions. Your father will threaten to cut you off from the firm. And by noon, you'll be in your car, promising to be back by dinner. That's not fair. Because it's not true, or because it is. His silence was answer enough. I'm taking the kids on a trip, I said. We leave Christmas morning. Elena. You do what you need to do, James. And for once, I'll do what I need to do. I walked past him, stopped at the door. 15 years, I've made myself smaller to fit into your family's picture. But our children deserve better than to grow up thinking they're only half welcome in their own family. Where will you go? I looked back at him, really looked at him. The man I'd fallen in love with was still there, somewhere beneath the lawyer suits and family obligations. But he was buried so deep now, I wasn't sure he'd ever surface. Somewhere we're wanted, I said. Christmas Eve was a masterclass in pretense. James tried to recreate our usual traditions, cookies for Santa, matching pajamas, the Polar Express on the big screen. But the kids felt the tension, kept asking why Daddy seemed sad, why Mommy was packing so many suitcases. It's an adventure, I told them. A Christmas surprise. At midnight, while James pretended to sleep in the guest room, had moved there after dinner, both of us too proud to address it. I stood on our terrace, looking out at the city. My phone buzzed with notifications from my company's Asian markets, profit reports that would have made Harrison Chambers choke on his brandy if he knew. The maid's daughter ran a tech empire worth more than his entire stuffy law firm. He didn't know because James had never told him. Another secret to keep the peace, another way I'd made myself smaller. But tomorrow, I'd be done shrinking. The alarm went off at 4:30 a.m. The kids were excited despite the early hour, bouncing with the kind of energy only children possess. James stood in the kitchen, fully dressed, watching us prepare to leave. You're really doing this, he said. Yes. My father will. Your father will have the Christmas he wanted. Immediate family only. You are immediate family. Not according to him. He followed us down to the waiting car, helped load the bags. The kids hugged him goodbye, made him promise to FaceTime later. When they were buckled in, he pulled me aside. Elena, please, we can fix this. We've been trying to fix this for 15 years, I said. I'm tired of being the only one doing the work. The ride to Teterboro was quiet, the kids dozing in the early morning darkness. When we pulled up to the private terminal, their eyes widened. The Gulfstream G650 sat on the tarmac like a sleeping giant, cabin lights glowing warmly in the pre-dawn darkness. Is that ours? Lucas whispered. For today it is, I said. Captain Williams met us at the stairs, sharp in his uniform. "Good morning, Ms. Reyes." "Master Lucas, Miss Sophia. Ready for your Christmas adventure?" The kids were speechless, taking in the cream leather seats, the bedroom in the back, the full galley stocked with their favorite foods. I'd have the crew hang lights inside, a small tree in the corner. If we couldn't have family Christmas, we'd have our own version at 45,000 feet. "Mom," Sophia breathed, "this is like a flying house. Better than Grandpa's house?" The question slipped out before I could stop it. She thought about it seriously, the way only 8-year-olds can. "Grandpa's house is big but cold. This is warm." Out of the mouths of babes. As we settled in, Captain Williams leaned down. "Flight time to Aspen is approximately 4 hours, ma'am, with our detour over Westchester." "Thank you, Captain." The engine spun up, that distinctive whine of power and possibility. I'd flown private many times for business, but this was different. This was freedom. As we taxied, my phone rang. "James." I almost didn't answer. Then, "Hello?" "My father knows about the jet." I smiled. "How?" "The tail number. N-Air 2010. Your initials and the year we met. He has a friend at the FAA who tracks private flights. And pause. He's losing his mind." "Is he?" "Elena, what are you trying to prove?" "Nothing," I said honestly. "I'm just done hiding. He says if you fly that plane over his house, he'll what? Disinvite me from Christmas? Too late." "Elena." "I have to go, James. We're about to take off. Give your father my regards." I hung up and turned off my phone. The takeoff was smooth, the kids pressing their faces to the windows as Manhattan fell away below us. Within minutes, we were climbing through winter morning darkness, chasing the sunrise west. "Captain," I said into the intercom, "how long until we reach Westchester?" 12 minutes, ma'am. Would you like me to announce it?" "Please do." I buckled the kids in beside me, made sure they were looking out the right side windows. "Ladies and gentlemen," Captain Williams' voice filled the cabin, "if you look out the right side of the aircraft, we'll be passing over the Chambers Estate in Westchester County. Per our flight plan, we'll be conducting a low-altitude circle of the property to ensure our passengers get a good view of the Christmas decorations." Lucas looked at me. "Grandpa's house?" "That's right." "But why?" "Watch," I said. The G650 banked gently, descending to what must have been barely legal altitude. Below us, Harrison's estate sprawled across pristine snow, the main house blazing with lights, the cars already gathering in the circular drive for Christmas morning. I could imagine them inside, Harrison holding court over coffee and Bloody Marys, making pronouncements about family values and tradition. Then they heard us. The jet noise at low altitude was impossible to ignore. I watched tiny figures stream out onto the lawn, heads craned skyward. The G650's navigation lights blinked festively in the dawn sky as we circled once, twice, the tail number clearly visible to anyone who looked. "Is that Grandpa?" Sophia pointed at a figure in a bathrobe, gesticulating wildly. "I believe it is." "Why is he waving like that? Is he angry?" "He's just surprised to see us," I said diplomatically. My phone, supposedly turned off, somehow managed to buzz with an incoming call. Harrison himself. I declined it with satisfaction. As we climbed away from Westchester, Lucas was quiet. Then, "Mom, why doesn't Grandpa like you?" The question I dreaded and expected in equal measure. "It's not about like or dislike," I said carefully. "Your grandfather grew up in a different world. He has ideas about who belongs where. But here's what matters, you belong everywhere. Both of you. Never let anyone make you feel like you don't deserve a seat at any table. Is that why we're flying to Aspen? Because we deserve it." "We're flying to Aspen because that's where our new vacation house is," I said. "Would you like to see pictures?" Their excitement over the photos, indoor pool, movie theater, ski-in access. drowned out any lingering questions about Westchester. As the G650 climbed toward cruising altitude, I finally relaxed. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from an unknown number that I recognized as Harrison's personal cell. "You've made your point. Return immediately and we can discuss terms." Terms. As if this was a negotiation. As if my worth was something to be debated. I typed back, "Merry Christmas, Harrison. Enjoy your immediate family." Then I blocked the number. The rest of the flight was magical. The kids played in the bedroom, watched Christmas movies, helped the flight attendant serve hot chocolate with marshmallows. As we crossed into Colorado airspace, the sunrise painted the mountains gold and pink. A light show better than any holiday decoration. "Mom," Lucas said, settling beside me as Sophia napped. "I'm glad we're here instead of Grandpa's house." "Why's that?" "Because you're smiling," he said simply. "You don't smile at Grandpa's house." My throat tightened. "When did you get so observant?" "Dad says I get it from you." He paused. "Is Dad going to be okay?" "Your father loves you both very much," I said. "This isn't about him. It's about Grandpa being mean to you. It's about choosing joy," I corrected. "It's about showing you and your sister that you never have to accept less than respect. Not from anyone." The landing in Aspen was smooth, the kids' faces pressed to windows as we descended into a winter wonderland. The house, our house, sat on the mountainside like something from a fairy tale, all glass and timber and possibility. "This is ours," Sophia whispered. "All ours," I confirmed. As we drove up the private road, my phone exploded with messages. James, his sister, his mother, numbers I didn't recognize. The Westchester flyover had apparently caused quite a stir. Good. But the one that made me smile was from my own mother, who'd been spending Christmas with my sister in Miami. "Maja, did you really buzz that Pendavo's house? My friends are all asking about the video on Instagram." Video? Of course someone had filmed it. Of course it was already viral. The Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx in her private jet, refusing to be erased. The house was even more spectacular in person. The staff I'd hired had it ready. Trees decorated, presents arranged, stockings hung with care. Everything Harrison's house had, but warmer. Welcoming. Ours. "Can we ski today?" Lucas asked, already planning. "We can do whatever we want," I said. "It's Christmas." My phone rang. "James." This time, I answered. "Are you insane?" But there was something in his voice, not anger. Maybe. "My father is threatening to call the FAA. My mother fainted. My sister is screaming about family reputation. And you." A long pause. "I'm looking at the video. You look happy." "I am happy." "The kids?" "Playing in their new house. The one where they're welcome. Always." Another pause. "Elena, don't," I said gently. "Not today. Today is about joy. We can deal with the rest tomorrow." Can I FaceTime them later? For Christmas?" "Of course. You're their father. You're always welcome in their lives. But not yours." I looked at my children, already racing through their new home, their laughter echoing off soaring ceilings. Thought about 15 years of making myself smaller, quieter, less threatening to Harrison Chambers' worldview. "I don't know," I said honestly. "But I know I'm done being anyone's dirty secret. I'm done pretending I don't own a company worth more than your father's. I'm done acting like I should be grateful for scraps of acceptance." "The tail number," he said suddenly. "Year 2010. That was the year everything changed." "Yes. Maybe it's time for everything to change again." "Maybe," I agreed. "But that's a conversation for another day. Today, I'm going to teach our children to ski and show them that their mother is exactly who she always was, just no longer hiding it." "My father wants to sue for grandparent rights." I laughed, really laughed. Tell Harrison good luck with that. My lawyers are better than his. Turns out the lower class can afford excellent representation. Elena. Merry Christmas, James, I said, not unkindly. Give my regards to your immediate family. I hung up and joined my children in the great room, where they discovered the wall of windows overlooking the valley. Snow was starting to fall, fat flakes that made the world look like a snow globe. Best Christmas ever, Sophia declared, spinning in circles. It's only morning, I pointed out. Don't care. Best ever. Lucas joined his sister spinning, both of them dizzy with altitude and joy and freedom. I watched them, these two beautiful souls who would never have to choose between sides of themselves, who would know, always, that they deserved every room they walked into. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from my assistant. The video has 2.8 million views. Hashtag Christmas layover is trending. Harrison Chambers' law firm website has crashed from traffic. Merry Christmas, boss. I set the phone aside and joined my children in their dizzy dance, spinning in our sunlit sanctuary, while Westchester faded into memory. Somewhere, Harrison Chambers was learning what happened when you pushed the wrong person too far, when you mistook kindness for weakness, when you thought money and name meant more than heart and hustle. The Bronx girl had bought her own mountain. The maid's daughter had her own jet. The unwelcome wife had found her own joy. And it was, indeed, the best Christmas ever.